Hey writers, I'm Karena Akhavein of Spalmorum, and this is NaNoWriMo Writing Break, a daily series where I give you the inspiration, motivation, and information to keep you writing and winning at NaNoWriMo this year. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and sign up for our mailing list. Let's get started. Hey writers, it is November 2nd, second day of NaNoWriMo. I'm super excited because today we're talking premise and plot, kind of the central part of your story. What is a premise exactly? It's that thing that you have to express when somebody says, what are you writing about? What's your book about? Let me give you a few examples of premises. So here's one. Young, awkward, neglected boy finds out he's a wizard and ends up going to school and meeting all these characters who kind of help him to navigate his new identity. So that would be Harry Potter. Or how about awkward teenage girl moves in with her estranged dad into a new town, falls for the mysterious guy in her school, but turns out he's a vampire and she needs to deal with everything that transpires. So that would be Twilight. So I'll tell you about my premise a little bit later, and I'll also have my writing buddy across the country tell you about her premise, and we'll check in with her. But in the meantime, let's talk about what exactly is a premise. So it's 1 to 2 sentences that tell you exactly what your book is about. There are 3 ingredients in a very good premise. Your first ingredient is your main character. So who are they? What is the issue that they're facing? How are they special? And what kind of obstacles can we see that are going to prevent them from having what they want? So part 2 in that formula is a situation that is unique. So think of a setting that's going to make that character and their issues sing and also make their whole journey a little bit more difficult. So for example, you can isolate them, or you can have them navigating all these dangers or whatever. So think about that setting. And then the third ingredient in your premise formula is extraordinary circumstances and obstacles. So that would be actually physical obstacles, or your antagonist or an enemy who keeps your main character from getting what they want. So there are your 3 ingredients. How do you know that your premise is good? Well, the first way that you know is that you're excited about it. If you're excited about your premise, you are going to really feel encouraged about fleshing that into a plot. So that's the other thing. When you're thinking about fleshing your premise into plot, think, is my premise actually complicated enough that I can do that? Can I take that initial situation that I've described and think of enough action and situations and scenes that are going to drive all of that action forward? So those are some things to think about. There have been a ton of things about plot. If you want to look at the NaNoWriMo website, they also have a lot about plot and premise. But these are the basics, and I think that you're probably going to have everything you need. My premise has to do with a couple in Los Angeles who've been having some issues. They've been down on their luck, and they stumble across a plot by Russian gangsters to take over all of Los Angeles using strategic real estate. And basically the whole thing is like Game of Thrones meets $1 Million Listing. And now we're gonna go to my writing buddy, and she's gonna tell us about her premise.
Hey y'all, it's Gabby. I'm here to share the premise for my book. Claire is a girl that grew up in a very strict Christian environment, and she gets married and moves to Groton, Connecticut, the largest submarine base in the world. And when she gets there, she attends church and she meets another girl, Abby. Claire and Abby get into a little trouble and are accused of stealing funds from the church, and so they're asked not to come back. But Abby says, you can come by my work. So Claire goes and meets her there, and it turns out that it is a strip club. And so Claire decides that she's gonna start helping at the club because she doesn't really have anything else to do. Eventually, both of their husbands go on deployment, and the very next day, Claire goes back to the club to find that Abby is missing. So she delves deeper into this world to find where her friend is and what's happened to her. And she has to sort of navigate the difference between growing up in the strict Christian home and the world of stripping. So that's the premise for my book. I don't have a lot of knowledge about strip clubs, obviously, but I do have some prior knowledge of military lifestyle and growing up on bases and also the Christian environment. So I hope you guys like the premise of my book, and we'll have to see how I discovered how to write this.
Okay, that's it for today, guys. I need to get back to writing, and probably so do you. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. In the meantime, leave comments, questions, tips, tricks, anything you can think of down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Bye, guys.